Penn State has finally made a coaching hire, and it is the name Matt Campbell. He's from Iowa State. Obviously, has done a really, really good job of coaching and coaching effectively there. I mean, he's a MAC West Division champ 2 times. He's a MAC Coach of the Year. He's a 3-time Big 12 Coach of the Year. He's a 2-time AP Big 12 Coach of the Year. So he has done some great things. Some people, on this side of things, the eastern side of things, because he's coached at Iowa State for so long, may not know that his playing career started in Pittsburgh. He's a Pittsburgh guy, so he's had an opportunity to do that. He's come with some great, I guess, endorsements, we'll say, of being there, from Nick Sirianni to other guys that have been very, very successful, and there's a connection to Nick Sirianni as well. So, what's your take on it, Plex? Like, what's your first initial go at Matt Campbell being named the head coach of Penn State after what was seemingly considered to be and tagged as a tumultuous approach to getting it done?
I mean, when I first heard the hire, I mean, I was a little shocked. I mean, when I first heard it, but the rant that Kraft went on, the AD at Penn State, I thought that they were hiring in-house, and with that being said, Terry Smith was the interim coach, and I thought that they would kind of build that program with somebody in-house around him and keep a Penn State guy at the head coach. But Terry Smith is still there. Matt Campbell comes in. I think it's a solid hire. He has a very respectable resume. Obviously, coaching at a Power 4 school in the Big 12. His best season he had back in 2024. He had 11 wins. Out of his 10-year coaching in Iowa State, they only beat Iowa 3 times. So with that being said, I want to see how his coaching style translates to a Power 5 conference and playing against better talent and better programs in the Big 10. So I think it's going to be a few years before Penn State gets their feet on the ground, with losing 11 recruits on signing day, no longer going to Penn State but following James Franklin to Blacksburg and Virginia Tech. So I just want to see how he's going to fare his first couple of years. I believe that some of these recruits that were going to Penn State, they're going to sit back, and evaluate how they're doing or how they're looking moving forward. But I think it's a solid hire. He's 72-55 in the 10-year coaching career at Iowa State. Is he going to be able to get recruits in the building to go to Happy Valley? That's still something that we're going to have to see. But he has a solid resume. I think he's a pretty good coach, and we'll see how Penn State fares, moving on, because of right now they didn't get all the recruits that they wanted to get. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to take a little time to build a program back up.
Yeah, I tend to fall in line with your school of thought. I look at Campbell as a quality guy, a guy that's been really approached a few times by the league. Who's the GM of the Eagles? Howie
Roseman.
Roseman, yeah, Roseman.
Yes.
He was looking at eyeing Campbell for the job in Philly. There were other teams that were eyeing him as well. It seems as though he is a quality coach. I don't know him personally. I will meet him and get to know him and get a feel for who he is. But from all accounts given from people I know that do know him, he's been spoken very highly of. To me, that's the first thing I want to know is he a good man? And the things that I've heard about him, since he emerged as the biggest prospect to be hired, you start to do your diligence because, well, not only am I a letterman that is vested in what the success of this team is, but uniquely enough, there's only maybe two of us that played there that have sons that are on the roster. So my level of, I don't have time for mock outrage. I don't have time for all the shenanigans that are connected to this. This really matters to me for my son's sake, So it's an interesting, I guess, position for me to be in because I'm so close to the university, close to things that are going on. So I remain quiet about the coach's situation place. But I did have a rant yesterday, and it did go viral, and I guess I'll address it. And I'll address I guess there's a lot of mixed feelings about what I said in terms of the setup of the conversation was, why was it taking so long to make a hire? Then the audio, somebody secretly recorded Pat Kraft while he was addressing the senior leadership guys that were leaving about the coach's position. That was leaked out. There has been a lot of things that have developed in the media surrounding this coaching hire, and I had just kind of gotten to my end on being quiet about it, and I was just going to give some perspective on it. You mentioned Coach Smith, Coach Terry Smith, and everybody loves him. The players love him, the fans love him, people love him. And people tried to get upset with me with saying that, the sabotage of what's taking place and the reason why things are going left is because you have a person that is acting. Now I know after yesterday, having a million conversations after people heard what I had to say about why it took so long to get a coach and why there was so much propaganda coming out about the situation and how it was being handled, and was there negligence in it, was there a lack of a plan, and all these things that were creating this narrative that was basically an inaccurate narrative, Plex. And it wasn't that the AD was handling it without a plan. It was he was handling it with a stacked deck. I said on the show I felt like it was the Paterno family that was making it a point to, as being Jay Paterno on the school board, they were making it difficult for this coaching hire to take place. People maybe didn't comprehend it or understand it, but you got to take 2 to 3 days to pull the board together. The board has to vote on it. There has to be like an understanding of what they're doing moving forward and making the decision to move forward. So I made the point that there was, sabotage taking place. There was undermining taking place. And I'm confident in saying it. I know it. And now today, I know even more, Plex. Like I know that it's not the family. It's one person acting on his own, and that's Jay Paterno. And the things that he's doing and trying to leverage as one of the board members, at the school, it's unfortunate that he doesn't use who he is and the name that his father built, the legacy that his father built. It's a shame that he doesn't use it for the good of the university. Now, in his mind, he may think he is, but I do not believe that is the case. And there are other instances of him, like, kind of tampering and undermining upper level decision makers.
So basically, what you're insinuating is that Jay Paterno is not using his position to better the football program at Penn State with this hire of Campbell. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that the hire of Campbell. I'm saying the hire altogether. And so now let me tie it back to Coach Terry. Coach Terry is a letterman. Coach Terry played at Penn State. Coach Terry is from Pittsburgh. He's one of us, right?
Yes, and that's what I was getting to when Kraft got on the microphone and he made all of these statements of he's going to bring in a Penn State guy with integrity and character and a passion for the school and a passion for the program. And then when you make Terry Smith the interim coach, And I think everybody kind of thought that it was going to be a Penn State hire, whether it was him or Matt Rule or former player. Just like you mentioned that Coach Smith was a letterman, and he goes outside of the university to make this hire. That's why I think a lot of people, were in shock with the words that he had to make in reference to the next head coach at Penn State.
So let me give some perspective on it, because now I gave you the backstory of why I came out and started saying undermining and sabotaging and different things like that. Jay Paterno does want to make Penn State great again, for all intents and purposes, right, in his mind. And his approach is it needs to be him that cleans it up, right? So how does that apply to – and I know we're up on a break, and I don't want to take this into the next segment either. I just want to wrap it up. But let me just lay it out this way for you, Plaxico. When Terry Smith took over the team and did the knockdown, bang-up job that he did, he showed that the players were with him. He showed that he could get wins and did so many positive things. The one piece of it that went wrong, that I wish he could have it back to do it over again, was he started going on the field with the 409 Joe, the Joe pin. It connected him to a group of people that fall in line with what Jay Paterno is pushing out there. I have no problem with Jay trying to do whatever it is legacy-wise for his family. No problem. For his father, I have no problem with you doing it. I have a problem when it's at the expense of others. And I feel like Jay manipulated the situation by putting that on Terry Smith. You put that weight on Terry Smith to carry this torch of hope to restore Coach Paterno. You can restore Coach Paterno in so many different ways. It does not have to play out this way and continue to play out with Penn State and Penn State football. You have many outlets that you can leverage to figure that out. And yet you chose to leverage Coach Smith in the scenario, and now here's the clarity of it. People are sitting there like, well, what are you getting at? Here's what I'm getting at. If Terry Smith gets named the head coach of the team, he becomes probably the highest paid employee in the state of Pennsylvania, which makes him one of the more influential, most powerful people in Pennsylvania. He will have a large influence over who's getting hired at strong positions. So he was politicking to get James Franklin out of there all along. And people may not be aware of that. But him and another guy were politicking to get him out all along, trying to sabotage Franklin all along, creating this 50-50 split with Franklin and the Paterno supporters all along. That was why the whole James Franklin isn't Joe Paterno the whole entire time of his tenure there was a strong element of the narrative, which it should have never been, because there's no reason to compare a coach to a coach that's gone, a former coach. You can, but not to the extent of what they went to and for how long they did with Coach Franklin. So now you fast forward to where we're at now, and you start politicking so strongly for Coach Smith to get the job. You know what it was for? You know what it's for, Plex? This is to me, my conclusion with all of the pieces being in place. Mm-hmm. Jay Paterno wanted a position of leadership, and it may have been athletic director. Oh. So if Terry Smith gets the job with the outward show of solidarity to the 409, to Joe, to the Paterno family, this, that, and other, he gets the job, then the strong chances of leadership changes taking place is now set in motion. So the sabotage, the shorting of the stock, the positioning of being able to take over is now in play, and it's now in session. And Jay Paterno has a straight line into the AD's seat, and that now they're coming for the head of the school. And they'll end up putting in the person that they want at the head of the school, and you'll have a trinity of the head football coach, the AD, and the president of the school. Now, I might have shot that fast on y'all, and y'all might have not have caught that, but look at it on, listen to it on the podcast, and you'll understand it. You got one person acting on his own volition. He's been on the board of trustees for all these years, and he's been trying to do all these different things that create division and create, a separation between us as a school community. And it was all coming to a head where what his ultimate plan was, which was to get back in a seat of power at the school that was more powerful than where he's at, and direct connection to the football program. And that's what messed it up for Coach Smith. In my humble estimation, I believe, and I did not get that information from anyone at Penn State. That's my conclusion based off of the information. As you know, you go to your school, you're around your school, people see you around, they talk to you, you learn things, this and that and the other. I could guarantee you, if you talk to anybody who's in the know, they would probably agree with me that it was Jay Paterno that ended the opportunity for Terry Smith to become the head coach. My mic keeps falling. To become the head coach of the next head coach of Penn State. And to me, that's sabotage. That is undermining. And it's sad because in a situation where a man probably deserved the opportunity to do it, someone else's actions and somebody else's plotting and planning actually may have been the reason why he didn't get the job in the end. But I'm glad he's staying on board, because he is a tremendous asset to our community and to our team. And it would be interesting to see how many guys Campbell retains and works with, just based off of recruiting, based off of the amount of lettermen that are on the staff now. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I will say this, from the personality that I've heard Campbell has and the type of character he has, it seems as though everybody that wants to stay will have a fair opportunity to possibly and potentially stay in the mix with Penn State football. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it plays out. But I had to get that off my chest because I got a lot of messages yesterday. I even got a message from a Paterno telling me that I was dumb. Basically, I thought you were smarter than what you were. You opened your mouth. You're dumb. I think I'm pretty smart, and I think I'm pretty knowledgeable on the situation as well. That's why I feel confident shooting it out there to the hundreds of thousands of people that are listening to our show. So I feel good about it, and I feel like it needed to be said because there are so many false narratives. It wasn't Sexton that was sabotaging it, the king of college football. Sexton has a good relationship with the program and a good relationship with the AD. It's not the agent. It wasn't there was a lack of a plan. This was how it played out. Trying to go through the process, and you know what? It turned into something totally different based off of undermining, propaganda, and politicking. And to me, that sucks. There's no real place for it. I know it exists, but when you're someone of that name and that legacy connected to an institution, you have a larger responsibility not only to the community, but to your family name, to yourself, to handle things better than what you did. So hopefully moving forward, he'll do better. Hopefully he hears this segment and knows that, people aren't going to just sit around and let you do what you want to do and say what you want to say and act how you want to act just because of your last name. It doesn't work out that way. It's not how life works. Yeah, well, there you go.